everybody. How are you guys? Good to see you. I think things are sort of in focus. Yes, for some reason my FaceTime camera was doing weird things, which I oftentimes use instead of my other ones, just because I'm lazy. But, yeah, I hope you guys are hearing me fine. It sounds kind of different in my head right now. Let's see, the output is short MV7. There we go. S. Yes, okay, everything should be good. Output should be good. Ba-dip-doo. There we go. Yes. Output, input. I'm back, sort of. Oh, it's good to be back. I tell you, the trip to Phoenix was quick and fun, but good. And well worth my time. I tell you, it was awesome. So greetings to everybody. Linda's there. Susan, you weren't feeling well? Oh, that's too bad. I'm sorry. Get better. Yeah, Lachlan was sick down there. I was really glad I was not getting what he got. Linda and Tamara's here, and Larry, the substitute teacher. And yeah, see, being a substitute's not that easy, is it, Larry? Whoa, boy. Anyway, Tamara, yep, got your stuff, Tamara. Got things from Larry, and I have some things. I didn't see anything else. I just checked email just now and did not see anything else come in. So, all right. Hi, Angie. Nice to have you here. And there is Lupe. Nice to have you here, my friend. So nice. Is Fatima here? Oh, there she is. Evenings are 28 days fasting, then a holiday, not so much. We'll be listening while you're preparing things. I have a very busy next 28 days, too. I found out, got a call while I was in Phoenix, that my show at the Mustard Seed is in May and June. May and June. So that means I have to have probably a good 30 pieces printed, matted, and framed. I have some pieces that are already. I mean, I might do, but whew, yeah. We'll see how all that goes. Yeah. See how we're gonna do. Anyway, that's gonna be in May and then in June. So yeah, it's already just cruising along. April, next Saturday is the services for Bob's friend Jeffrey. This coming Saturday on April 1st, and so we'll be gone that whole day. And Bob's been working on it while I was gone. He's been just working at it. I'll tell you about his off caffeine thing and why I was glad I was gone. There we go. And Susan's here. Oh no. No, Susan's in bed. Bonnie, hi Bonnie. Whoa, a new person we have to say. Let's see, what can I do for her? Welcome, Bonnie. Nice to have you here. Yay. It's always nice to greet somebody new. It's great to have you here. I'm just going through the comments on welcoming everybody. Thank you for being welcome. Bucket filling time. You're right. Good. Sounds good. Squirrels. Yes, squirrels all over the place. That's a tall order. I know. I know. I didn't think it was coming up quite so soon, but oh well. I can get it done. I'll show you some of the things that I have printed already. And I'm making a concerted effort this time to print things in a size that fit a pre-cut mat. Pretty smart, huh? Pretty smart. Don't always act that smart, though. I don't always get that accomplished because I like to be creative in how I want my pictures to look just in it. And some of them, you know, that 2x3 doesn't really actually fit a mat very, very well. And so sometimes, and I do not like to zoom to fill. It's just one of those things on Lightroom that they have that sometimes I lose pieces. So I'll show you what I got done so far in my art part and things for show and tell tonight. But okay, before we get rolling here on everybody else. Oh, Oak by Bettina. This is Betty, new to your channel. We have somebody new to our channel. Way, here we go. Welcome, Betty. Nice to have you here. Yay. Yay, Bonnie and Betty. Good job, you guys. Thanks so much for being here. It's always a delight to welcome people to this little wonderful tribe. Larry, I was so touched that you described this as a sanctuary. And that just really touched my heart. It really did. Plus the fact that you attempted to do wanted to do the substitute and even stepped in to try to do it. And I know you had to move things. It's not easy to get that all around there. But you tried and it was wonderful. I was really touched. Layla and I watched for a little bit of time before Lachlan. Yeah, he was, well. So as you guys know, I was in Phoenix for the grant to fly Layla back down because she had been here. And if you missed it, there's a short, I put it out, or a short video. It's like a 2.5-minute video of fast time of Layla and my pouring using Larry's cup thing, new cup that he came up with, and Brian's toys. We just had a blast. But then on Wednesday, I flew her back down to Phoenix. She's 10, so she didn't really want to fly by herself. And it was a good thing because Lachlan had gotten sick, and Philip, my son-in-law, had to leave for he had a big conference he had to run and speak at. And Annalena, you know, it's really difficult with her with having to be in surgery with places for Boston Scientific. So anyway, their grandma came in and took care of Lachlan, and he got better. He's just, I don't know what got him, but it got him. But I had a great time with the two of them. But on Saturday morning, my flight was at 6:15 in the morning. So the Uber arrived at 4:15 in the morning. And I just decided I was going to cut it tight at the Phoenix airport, which was fine. I got there in plenty of time, but boy, that was an early morning and back. And then last night I just crashed after doing some printing and calibration. I had to recalibrate all my monitors because things weren't printing right. And so there's this big giant spider on my desk. Not really. It's this thing. It's called the Spider 5 Pro. Oh, whatever. It's for calibrating. So got that done. So I'm all ahead of the game. Yay. Yes, it's a good idea. Thank you. I'm glad you saw it, Linda. I thought you had seen it. Hey, there's Julia. Yay. They're actually all right, everybody. So, it is Sunday Fun Day. We get to hear stories, Sunday Funnies stories, but we also get to see each other's art. And we have some show and tell time coming up. And so let's see what we've got going here for show and tell. Let's see if I've got it sort of ready to go. Come on. Show and tell. Okay, first off, we have Tamara's. And I put part of her email in this. She had this masked owl is one of 4 species. Let me do this thing right here. I'll get myself out of the way here so I can still talk to you guys. The masked owl is one of the 4 species of owls that they get in their area. For those of you who don't know, Tamara is in Australia. She used mixed media, watercolor paint, colored pencils, and some acrylic paint. She's not finished with the piece yet. She's not satisfied with the eyes and some other bits on this piece. I tell you, the owl is beautiful, but one of the parts that I really, really like is what you did with the wood that he's standing on. How it is so real and natural looking. Yeah, and I love the texture in his wings. Fuzzy and cute. Little owls. I wonder what size that owl is. Because when I was in Africa, I saw that one they call the eagle owl, and it's this giant owl. Just giant thing. But this is very cute. Then her next one is coming up. Come on. Are you going to? Oh, there it is. She says this is the yellow and pink piece is a birthday card that she made for her granddaughter, Kaylee, along with a watercolor book. Also added some art on the front. The inside cover of the book has a sleeve that I put lots of textured papers that I have collected over many years. Just a little hint for her to play with collage. She had a little note in the email to me about how talented Kaylee is and likes to do that, which I'm not surprised she's talented. You know? With a grandmother like you? Woohoo! Excellent. Layla and Lachlan and I made a trip to Michael's when we were in Phoenix, and Layla got perler beads and more canvases, and Lachlan got one of those Discovery dinosaur fossil things where you dig it out, and he got to dig out the dinosaur claw. We needed a day outside rather than, because he was still feeling better, but he wasn't well enough to go to school. I wasn't going to let him go to school when he'd been sick overnight. That's just the teacher in me won't let that happen. So I needed to get him outside, though, and that was it, the dinosaur dig thing. He was not much into painting or doing stuff like that. I painted and played. He dug. But this is very cool. I love, this figure that you have with the shield, and that it's just, I've seen it in some of your other ones in variations, and I really love it. I wish you'd let us know maybe the symbolism behind that. It would be really cool to know. And then, yeah, it's just so wonderful. It's beautiful, beautiful card. I tell you, lucky girl to get that as a card, a birthday card. Next we have, it's going along. Come on. There we go. Larry's. So this is Portoliano. Larry, your watercolor is just extraordinary. It's like so cool to see what you've done in the past few months with this. I really, really like this. I'll have to show this to Bob. He really likes, he has some pictures of Italy when Bryn played soccer in Italy. When our youngest daughter was 16, she played soccer in Italy. And Bob went over for the tournament and took her over with the when they went to go play in the Italy Cup and all there. I know. Isn't it just the colors, the whole bit? It's just so, and the reflection and the water. There's so much about it. It's so nice. Kitty Cat. Well, welcome, Kitty Cat. We have somebody new named Kitty Cat. Hi, welcome. Yay. Oh, hold it. Did Linda change herself to Kitty Cat? Seriously? Did I miss that? Oh, seriously, I think I did. I'm going back in the nope, there's Linda L. Unless she just went and changed it on me when I don't know. Oh, Linda! You got me. I like it. Okay, now we have to have, we need to send in Linda avatars for Linda to have a kitty cat on. Oh my gosh. Okay, and next we have Larry did this one. It's a guitar and a bookcase. How cool is that? I mean, how many wonderful things can you have in one image? You've got a wood stove, a brick wall, oh, dream catcher. It looks like a kind of like a plaid saddle blanket, like a wool blanket, a guitar, books, a cowboy hat, and a cool old lamp. Oh, and you have that cool clock there too. Oh, gosh, Larry, you know, some pretty favorite things. Cowboy hat, yeah, isn't it awesome? Cheeky chops, Linda. Anyway, oh my gosh. I love it. Okay, I like, you know, one of the things I like about this is that you have the books with the book bindings, the spine on the outside. What is with this new kind of designer kind of, or this trend that's been going on that they always put books on the bookshelves backwards? Maybe it's because of copyright. They don't want to have to admit that they'd use them, but you know, seriously, it's just lame. I'm sorry. Does the librarian have a little... Oh, that was the other thing. I took the kids to the library to get library cards. I couldn't sign to get them a library card. It had to be their parents or a legal guardian. Their grandmother could not help them get a library card. A retired librarian could not sign to get them a library card. I was so irritated. Anyway, but yes, Larry, I love this. I love it. It's just very cool. Has all those elements in it that make, you know, and look at what this hook thing is. That's to weigh something. What did you weigh on those? Put a bucket on it, see if your bucket's filled. This is corner in your den. Oh my gosh. I love that. See, comfort spots, comfort spots. Okay, next we have, oh, all right, next we have pictures from me. This was one, I was very pleased with how I had to really kind of crop this down from the far distance that I was away from, but I was pleased that it still came out and was in as good a focus as I thought it was, because he was kind of in the shadow. As you can tell, the background's pretty bright and sunny. Why is that there? Hang on. Blank. There we go. That's better. Why did it have a... Yes. So it was nice to have good bokeh in the background. I was pleased with that. But yeah, he was a pretty cool monkey. They were running up and down this tree and around, but he decided to take a rest. Thank you. I'm glad you like. Yeah, it really is, when you get to see them, their fur and their hair and everything is just, I was pleased. So this is one that's going to go in the gallery show. Then this one too, I'm kind of pleased. I had to increase the resolution on it because he was way up there, and it was this is way cropped down. But I took it into Topaz and increased the resolution, and it'll work for us, maybe a 9x12. But this is the lurking leopard up in the hill, up in the top up there. And I think, hang on just a sec. There. Yeah, so this was, he was up in a, you can't see because I cut it out, but down, there was actually another leopard next to him. And that was pretty cool too. Camera, let's see. There we go. Okay. Something just fell over. Okay, and then where am I? Back to preview. And then next I have two little things to show you that I was drawing with when Lachlan was digging his dinosaur. I decided to watch a YouTube and was doing these kind of goofy cats. That was one thing. Haven't got them embellished. I just had, all I had with me was watercolor pencils and pens. So that's kind of was that, just goofing around. But this one was kind of fun. This was done with watercolor, kind of getting for Easter. Somebody on what was her name on YouTube? I can't remember. But this was kind of fun to do. Goofy, whimsical, butterflies up there. Yeah. So that's a lot of fun too. Yeah. So those are mine. Let's see. I'll switch back to camera A. There we go. Back to yay. Okay. I gotta get this back where it's supposed to be so I can read to you guys. I knocked over a camera. My gimbal is not gimbling. Do you guys know what? I'm sure you know what a gimbal is. It's supposed to hold things steady, and it's not gimbling. It's misbehaving. Oh well, it'll be fine. Because I'm getting ready to read. So, one other thing I wanted to tell you guys about there, and I'm gonna draw it again. There was this crazy bird down in Phoenix called a great-tailed grackle, and it's huge. It's kind of like a crow with a long fan tail, and it makes the goofiest noises, but it's iridescent black, and it's just kind of cool. So I have to, little bunny, I have to try that one again. I'll see how that one goes. So that's what we have for show and tell for pictures today. Tonight, the book I have to share with you is by an author and illustrator, Jen Bryant and Melissa Sweet. And they have done a collaboration on a couple of books. And the second book that I'll probably read on Thursday because it's a little bit longer. And since we had share and tell tonight, I don't want to keep everybody too long. And this book is this is about the artist. This is one of the, a biography about an American artist that I think you're going to love. And I just thought it was just a really, really wonderful way that it was done. Plus the author and the illustrator. So the author, let me go to my next scene here so you can see that, is Jen Bryant. And I think I've done some other books by her before. Let's see. Click here, yeah. Above the Rim, I had to read to you. I don't know if I've read it, but I'm reading A Splash of Red tonight. A River of Words is what I'm going to read on Thursday. But just the work that she's done with this book is just beautiful. And lots of children's books. Tells you a little bit about her at the end of the book that I'm reading. There we go. So that'll be kind of fun to see that. And then the illustrator is, she's partnered with before, is Melissa Sweet, and a children's book writer and illustrator living in Portland, Maine. Sometimes you'll see me riding to the library on a red Schwinn bicycle or at the beach with my dog, Ruby. She has a great website about it. It has the part about her, and she's been making art since she could hold a crayon, scissors, and an etch-a-sketch. And writing and illustrating children's books is a lot like playing with art supplies as a kid. It's fun to make something out of nothing, for each day is different. And she has these 10 questions about, like, her favorite word is rapscallion. Favorite weather's blustery and warm. And she answers all these questions with these great illustrations or pictures. What was your favorite book as a kid? Favorite artist? She said she grew up with Golden Books, including stories with illustrator Mary Blair's luminous art, Green Eggs and Ham, and the Little Bear series illustrated by Maurice Sendak. She's always been enamored with picture books, encyclopedia, and New Yorker cartoons. That is so funny because that is what I grew up with, was New Yorker cartoons, an encyclopedia. I used to read the encyclopedia all the time. Come on, don't. So I'm kind of, sort of twisted. And so she says recently, wake up, make art, repeat, which is pretty much says all there is about her map of her day. So I thought that was pretty spectacular way to be. Anyway, so the book that I'm going to read, come on, there we go, is called A Splash of Red. And it is the life and art of Horace Pippin. And Horace Pippin was born in 1888 and was an African American whose life was tough and hard, and yet amazingly he still stuck it out and hung in there and pushed to be an artist. And it's really it's really, I think you're going to enjoy it because I found it pretty inspiring. So here we go to the next. There it is. A Splash of Red. Yay. I set this up so that you could see me, I hope, and I can see the book. Let me do one little thing here. Bum-bum. There we go. Oops. Yep. Okay. A Splash of Red. The life and art of Horace Pippin. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. It says the colors are simple, such as brown. I can't read that one. Black, yellow, with a bit of green. I'm going to expand this a bit. There we go. Yes. For Veterans by J.B. To Jen, whose words make pictures in my mind. A Splash of Red. Drop that down. On February 22nd, 1888, the town of Westchester, Pennsylvania celebrated a holiday. That day, in the same town, Daniel and Christine Pippin celebrated the birth of their son, Horace. Horace grew fast, so fast that his mother could barely keep up with the mending. He'll be a giant someday, the neighbors would say. Grandma Pippin smiled at Horace's long legs and big hands, and she figured the neighbors were right. I wonder if I can switch this so it's on one page. Just a sec. Oh, very good. Grandma's hands were big too, rough and scarred from her slave days in Virginia, but they were just fine for giving Horace hugs. The biggest part of you, she told him, is inside, where no one can see. When Horace was 3 years old, the Pippins moved to Goshen, New York. As the family grew larger, everyone helped out. Horace put his big hands to work. Oops. He fetched flour for his mother. Got that. He sorted laundry with his sisters, and he played with his baby brother. He held the horse while the driver delivered milk, and at night he piled wood for the stove and arranged dominoes so his grandmother could play. Then, if he could find a scrap of paper and a piece of charcoal, he drew pictures of what he'd seen that day. Horace loved to draw. He loved the feel of charcoal as it slid across the floor. He loved looking at it in the room and making it come alive again in front of him. He loved thinking about a friend or a pet, then drawing them from the pictures in his mind. At school, he sat quietly at his desk, but his big hands were always busy. "Make a picture for us, Horace," his classmates said. And Horace did. His pictures made people happy, except when he made some next to his spelling list. That made his teacher mad. Pictures just come to my mind and I tell my heart to go ahead. One of his quotes. But Horace couldn't stop drawing. One day, Horace saw a funny face in a magazine. "Draw me and win a prize," it said underneath. Horace drew the face and sent it off. A few weeks later, a package arrived. Inside, Horace found colored pencils, a pair of brushes, and a box of paints. "Ah, congratulations," the note said. Horace had won his first real set of art supplies. "Paint a picture for us, Horace," said his mother. And Horace did. He painted everyday scenes in natural colors, then he added a splash of red. Horace was in 8th grade when his father left for good. The family needed money, so Horace quit school and went to work. For several years, Horace's big hands were always busy, stacking grain sacks at the feed store, shoveling coal at the rail yard, mending fences on a farm, carrying luggage at a hotel, making brakes in an iron factory. I love how she split those things that he did into these lines like that. Packing oil paintings into large wooden crates. Looking at these made Horace remember winning the art contest. How proud he'd been. How he'd loved those colored pencils, those brushes, his first real box of paints. Horace was a big man now, with big responsibilities. Still, he loved drawing as much as he always had. He used charcoal, broken pencils, whatever he could find. "Make a picture for us, Horace," the other workers said. And Horace did. Far across the ocean, a terrible war had begun. Horace's big heart wanted to help. The good old USA was in trouble with Germany. So this is World War I. He joined the army and sailed away. I have not seen the sun in more than a month. In France, Horace and his regiment dug deep trenches for protection. There were no blankets or beds. It was always wet and cold and dark. "I have not seen the sun in more than a month," Horace wrote. He wrapped his big hands around a rifle. Planes droned overhead. Shells exploded. Gunfire rattled through the night. If the fighting stopped for a while, Horace put down his gun and picked up a pencil. "Make a picture for us, Horace," his soldier friends pleaded. And Horace did. He filled his notebooks one by one. The war brought out all the art in me. One day, he climbed to the top of the trench, a shot rang out. Horace felt pain in his shoulder. He was hit. Many hours passed before help came. Horace was glad to be alive, but the bullet had badly damaged his right arm. When it healed, he couldn't lift or move it the way he used to. Now, when someone said, "Make a picture for us, Horace," Horace could not. I can never forget suffering, and I will never forget sunset. I came home with all of it in my mind. After the war, Horace came back to the United States and met Jenny Wade. Jenny was a hard worker. She loved to cook. Horace was a hard worker, too. He loved to eat. It was a good match. They married and settled down in Westchester. Horace was 32 years old, as big and as strong as ever, but because of his injured arm, he couldn't find a job. "How much can you lift?" the hiring boss asked. And that was the end of that. So Horace did what he could. He organized a Boy Scout troop. He umpired baseball games. He took the neighbors' children fishing. When Jenny started a laundry business, Horace delivered the clean clothes. As he walked along the streets of Westchester, his fingers itched to draw all the colors and textures he saw. Lacy white curtains billowing in the windows, a splash of red geraniums blooming on a step, a yellow cat sprinting down a alley, deep green vines spiraling up a wall. At night, his old home in Goshen, his grandmother's slave days, and the Bible stories she told made pictures in his mind. He longed to draw them too, but how? His right arm was weak and painful to lift. The iron poker stood by the fire, straight and tall as a soldier. Could he? With his left hand, he grasped his right wrist. He thrust the poker into the flames until it glowed red hot. Using his good arm to move the hurt one, he scorched lines into wood. "Make a picture for us, Horace," the neighbors said. And Horace did. With practice, his arm grew stronger, his hand steadier. "Maybe now," he told Jenny, "I could try painting." There was no money for art supplies. So Horace used an old brush and leftover house paint he found in the alleys. And for a canvas, he used a clean piece of cloth. Every day and late into the night, Horace worked on his paintings. He used gray, black, and white, the somber colors of war. It says, "If a man knows nothing but hard times, he will paint them, for he must be true to himself." He used gray, black, white, and the somber colors of war. Here and there, he added a splash of red. He used 100 layers of paint. He decorated the frame with tiny sculptures. 3 years later, he finished. Now, as he delivered laundry or fished in the river, new ideas came, but he didn't paint them right away. Before he reached for a brush, Horace planned each new scene in his head. He painted the milkman and his wagon, women working in the kitchen, children playing games in the yard, cotton fields and log cabins, John Brown and Abraham Lincoln, war scenes and Bible tales, men singing on the corner. Horace hung his paintings in a shoe store window. $5 each, said the sign. He hung others in a restaurant. He even traded one for a haircut. People admired Horace's paintings, but no one bought them. Then the president of a local artist club saw Horace's pictures. He told his friend, the famous painter N.C. Wyeth, to come see them too. Wyeth agreed. Horace's paintings were good, very good. Do you have more? The men asked. Horace showed them his work, and he held his breath as they looked and talked. Finally, they said, you should have your own art show, a one-man exhibition right here in Westchester. It is some of the purest expression I have seen in a long time. That was the quote from N.C. Wyeth. Horace could hardly believe it. He shook hands with the men, and when they left, he celebrated with Jenny. People came from all around to see Horace's paintings. Magazines wrote articles, reporters took photos. An art dealer told Horace he would help him sell his work. More than 40 years had passed since Horace won his first box of paint. Now, at last, everyone knew he was an artist. Horace became famous. His paintings hung in big city galleries. Museums displayed them. Collectors admired them. Movie stars bought them, and once again, Horace's big hands were always busy. And if you stood outside his house late at night, you might see him leaning toward his easel, his left hand holding up his right, painting the pictures in his mind. Horace Pippin was born on George Washington's birthday, February 22nd, in the year 1888. Though he showed an early talent for making art, he didn't complete his first oil painting till he was more than 40 years old. Even after his work was discovered and promoted by such notables as painter and illustrator N.C. Wyeth, critic Christian Britton, and art and collector Albert Barnes, and art dealer Robert Carlin, Pippin remained true to his own creative process. When someone asked the self-taught artist about his work method, he said, "I paint it exactly the way I see it." Fighting in the trenches in World War I proved to be a pivotal experience for the young Pippin. Scenes from those brutal battles haunted him upon his return home, where he was awarded the French Cross, the Cross of War, and later the Purple Heart by the United States. He undertook his first adult painting, The End of the War, Starting Home, which took him nearly 3 years to complete, as a kind of physical and psychological therapy. "It brought me back to my old self," he later told a friend. Through daily practice and gritty determination, he gradually regained some of the control he had lost on his injured right arm. A curious and observant man, Pippin found his subjects almost everywhere. He produced roughly 140 works of art based on childhood memories, family stories, historical reports, photographs, movies, current events, and biblical scriptures, as well as his own Westchester, Pennsylvania neighborhood. His masterful use of color, form, and composition, how the elements of a picture are arranged, is considered his greatest artistic strength. Today, museums in Philadelphia, New York City, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Baltimore, Minneapolis, Wichita, Buffalo, Charleston, and other cities proudly display the works of Horace Pippin. He has been variously labeled a folk artist, a self-taught artist, and a primitive painter, but he is certainly and undisputably an American master. She said she saw her first Horace Pippin painting, Saying Prayers, 1943, oil on canvas, at the Brandywine River Museum in Chadds Pennsylvania, where I was doing research for my young adult novel, Pieces of Georgia. The novel incorporates the work of the Wyeth family of artists, including N.C. Wyeth, who first saw Pippin's painting at a store window in 1937 and helped bring him to the attention of the larger world. The rest, as they say, is history. Intrigued by Pippin's unique and powerful style, his connection to N.C. Wyeth, and the fact that he had made his home, as I have, in Chester County, I vowed to learn more about him. Over the next few years, I visited other museums where Pippin's work was displayed. I read books on his life, catalogs from his exhibits, news articles, and reviews of his work. I visited his house on West Gay Street in Westchester, just a few blocks from where I taught literature classes at the university. Wow. Later, once the story was written, Melissa and I retraced many of these paths and forged some new ones. We were inspired and amazed by the very real struggles in Horace Pippin's life and the incredible simple elegance of his work. Through his art, he transcended personal loss, injury, poverty, violence, and racism, producing a body of work that remains wholly original and deeply American. Not long ago, I wandered through the Chester Grove Annex Cemetery just north of Westchester until I came upon the granite stone inscribed Horace Pippin, 1888 to 1946. Two small American flags, one on each end, flapped in the wind. The day was cold and damp and gray, the kind of day Horace had so often described in his World War I notebooks. A mulberry bush arched protectedly over the artist's grave, and as I stood there, a male cardinal appeared in the branches, the only bright splash of red in an otherwise dull landscape. Horace, I thought, would have liked it. Yes. I think she would have. I was going to see if... Oh, there it is. Boom, boom. If it comes up. There. Here, let me go back to this and see if you can see some of these, if it has some of his work. See if this has him. I thought I found a page that had him. You can see some of his work here on this. Trial of John Brown was 1942. Holy Mountain 1, 1944. 46 was the year he died, the hoe cake. So he was still working up until the year that he died. A self-portrait that he did in 1944. Pretty amazing work. Somebody I would not mind seeing their things at all. Anyway, let's see. Camera A. There we go. No, we'll do this. Anyway, you guys, here I am. See, I told you my FaceTime camera is kind of weird, but that's all right. It's you guys. You don't mind. This. I hope you like that. I'm going to check in with you on this. What's going on there? Okay. Is that on that one? Oh, I know why. It's not saying B. There. Oh, there we go. That's better. Anyway, popping around, seeing what I missed in the conversation. What's happening back here? Let's see. Who's making somebody move? Just too new. What did Linda... oh, you used to belong to the Audubon. The link to the Audubon Society page on the great-tailed grackle. Yes, it's a crazy bird. It is a crazy, beautiful, and it's kind of like, I think, what we would equate it to up here in the Northwest would be like a camp robber. I mean, it doesn't look anything like the same, but it has a tendency to go in and jump in the yards. I mean, the kids left some of their food out and it got down, but it's got great. Oh, yes, I was in Mesa. Annalena and Philip live in just outside of Queens Creek in Mesa, off Ellsworth there. And so if Larry could quit his job, he would be an artist. I'm catching up here. Everdrive following. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, that's why I didn't attempt the French on that. I knew I'd get it wrong. Linda would get it right. Linda does have that. She's a novelty act. I like that. Ah. What? Calibration. Oh, that's my spider calibration. Oh, I know. I did a short on an Instagram short on calibrating it, and I had a spider crawling across it. People are not appreciating having the spiders. Yeah, big spiders in Africa. I found them. Yes. Horace is real, Bonnie. This is one of the things I oftentimes like to do is I love to read picture books that are either autobiographical or the biographies of people, and it open up part of the history that doesn't make it into history books or that we don't really know about. There's so many kids' picture books out there that open a whole new a whole new area. Like the one I'm going to read on Thursday is about a poet, and it is called if I can find it, A River of Words, and it is the story of William Carlos Williams, which is just an amazing poet, and works that I've read of his have been a great fun. But it's always really fun to see how these are introduced to kids, how these people are introduced, and also what gets left out of our history books. So yeah, I hope you guys liked it. I'm glad you liked the story, Lupe. Yay. Yeah, it's really, I'm kind of, you guys have to put up with this. I like history. I just love things about history. It's what comes from as a kid. I read chapter books when I think I told you guys before, but I read chapter books when I was 5. So when I started school, the rule is that first graders could not, when you went to the library, the first graders could only go to the picture book section, and that was it they had. And my mom was trying to fortunately knew the school librarian, and said, is there something that Gretchen can read? Sure, she'll get the picture books. She loves those, but something that she can actually read because she wants to read. And trying to find appropriate chapter books other than Mrs. Pigglewiggle for a 5-year-old in 1961 or 62 as a 6-year-old was not exactly easy to do. So the Mrs. Hallstrom, my librarian, told my mom, okay, we'll let her do the biographies. And they were those old biographies, if you remember, they had an orange cover, and they were like the young Abe Lincoln and the young Daniel Boone and the young Louisa May Alcott. And like I can remember Louisa May Alcott was the A's practically started, and it went all the way through Z's of some guy who's, I can't remember what he did. But so I basically started at the beginning of those, and they were biographies, and that's what I got to check. I would check out and I would read and I loved them. And they just created this, well, yes, very whitewashed sense of history, unfortunately, and very, but the way books were written. But what it did was it built a fascination with me for what got kids to a certain point to become what they did as an adult, and what built the history of certain areas and how it looks. And so I love reading those. So I love finding these books for you guys, and it makes it so much fun. Yes, Gail is, I forgot to call her when I was down there because I got so bombed up with the kids. I'll have to call her. Julia's there. Oh, thank you. Julia says, this is our place to find peace, friendship, love, and so much more. The books are fantastic. Oh, yay. I'm glad you liked it. I really am glad you liked it. And I think you'll like on Thursday, if you come back, I'm going to read the book on William Carlos Williams. And I'll probably read a couple, 3 books on Thursday because I have more time because we're not sharing art on that night and it's just all about books. And there's a cool book about, it's not true, but it's a fun little story about a little girl whose whole family are artists and she's into science. I just have to double check I haven't already read it. All right, you guys. Well, let me just cruise through here on these check and say Sundays and Thursdays. Yes, Betty, Sundays and Thursdays. I'm here Sundays and Thursdays. I've gone back to Sundays and Thursdays. I did a whole year of every night, and you can go back and find all kinds of stories there and catch up on what I did. I'm going back and kind of changing some of the titles or the descriptions a little bit, but they're still there as I go through to find what I need. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go. Bob is so. What I was gonna tell you guys, and this was, I mean, I'm not a bad wife. I'm a good wife, but Bob had to go off caffeine. Okay. He doesn't drink. Went in, his doctor said the PSA levels and all that stuff was fine, but to solve the issue, you can either go on medication, which has lots of side effects, or you could just try quitting caffeine. All caffeine, and not even decaf coffee, because decaf coffee has caffeine, and it should be helped. So the day before I left, Layla and I looked at each other like, uh-oh, Bampa has to go off caffeine because he loves his coffee. I mean, like, he's like the really kind of, just really the super strong. He will drink that nitro brew. He will drink straight espresso. He loves that stuff. So he had to stop. So Layla and I said, whew, we're getting out of town. So I was gone for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and didn't get back till Saturday through the worst of his decaf detox, I called it. Did I run like a chicken? Not really. My excuse is I was taking my granddaughter home, but I ran like a chicken. Bad, Gretchen. Oh, well, that's the way it goes. Anyway, yes. So on Sundays, you send in, Larry. Thank you, Larry. So if you send in your art for Sunday to my email, if you can put live art in the subject line, and then I can create a scene for you and have your name on it. And if you put a title on it, then it helps or whatever, but I can fix it all up. And if you can get it to me by like an hour before the show, then I can have time to make sure it's all in there and all together and I have the scene all right and everything. Okay. American history, more fun. Yeah, and we find things from all over. There's Fatima. Nice. History is missing from many school curricula. Yeah, and having been a teacher for 35 years and having been a lover of history, and then half of that being a librarian, you really see what's not there. And the books that I read to you guys, I mean, about the horseback librarians, where is that in our history book? And about all the other artists that did this and did that, and people that were people of color who really contributed, who don't make it into our history books. And oh my gosh, just worldwide, it's really kind of I think not only is it interesting, but I think it's important that it gets out there. So for now, you guys, that's it for tonight. I've been babbling on for a little over an hour here, and you guys have been sticking with me. We've had 2 new friends, Betty and Betty, and who else came? I saw the other person. Where did I? Oh, Bonnie and Betty. Yay, new folks. Everybody else, let's give yourselves, everybody, a round for the wonderful art tonight. Send in your stuff, you guys. And as always, it is always just such a joy to be here with you guys, to read stories with you, and to share these with you, to share my love of children's literature and my love of art, and for you not to laugh too hard at my little funny drawings, and for me to appreciate so much, and to know that we have a safe place and sanctuary where all of our artwork is appreciated and accepted, and we're all accepted at where we are, and that you enjoy this stuff and enjoy being with each other, and we fill each other's buckets all the time. So until next time, folks, you know the rule. It's the only requirement. Keep looking for the beauty hidden in plain sight. It's all around you. But you know the first place you'll find it is when you go look in the mirror. And I'll catch you on Thursday. Later.
In the heat of the night, we could get lost in all the lights and sounds. Feeling alright, we won't go home, we will just stay here downtown. There's not just stars on the boulevard, they're in the light in your eyes. Oh, we don't need no black cards, I just need you by my side.
All our
We
welcome
could be
you.
shameless, famous, running cool, with a love that leaves us weightless. Ooh, drop dead gorgeous.
We try.
Wow. Ooh,
This group makes it that.
feeling starstruck too. We could be famous. We could be famous.
Oh,
You blow my mind.
Skip John. Oh, I'll have to look.
Better than the usual.
Tacky the Penguin came and read
Don't even
read to
try.
my grandkids.
Average or typical, I put you on a pedestal. There's not just stars on the boulevard, they're in the light in your eyes. Oh, we don't need no black cards, I just need you by
It is
my
gorgeous,
side.
Tamara. I love your profile
We
pic.
could be shameless, famous, running cool, with a love that leaves us weightless. Ooh,
Isn't it a peace symbol?
drop dead gorgeous. Wow. Ooh, you got me feeling starstruck.
That's right.
Too. We could be famous. We could be famous. We could be famous. We could be famous.
Cheer dance time.
We could be shameless, famous, running cool, with a love that leaves us weightless. Ooh, drop dead gorgeous. Wow. Ooh, you got me feeling starstruck too. We could be famous.
Tamara, a very good friend of mine, was Anna's best friend. Patty Duke's real name was Anna. And a very good friend of mine was her best friend. They lived quite close to each other. And, yeah. Gramagoo rules. Yeah. All right, you guys. Just catching up. I'm so far behind. Night, everybody. Take care.